Welcome back to Cindy's Library. This is Cindy, and today I'm going to talk to you about what I read in the second half of the month of July. So let's get started. So I started off with Death Over the Garden Wall. Yes, we are back with our heroes, Henry and Jamie. And this one is a bit confusing. She is something of a celebrity. I think even part of the aristocracy somewhat. A bit notorious, but the queen likes her. Well, liked her, I should say. And what is certain is she disappeared 2 weeks ago and her body washed up elsewhere. But what makes this confusing is her house is built literally on the edge of a cliff. So is this murder? Is this an accident? Jamie and Henry must figure it out. I also read The Watsons by Rose Servitora. Follows our heroine, Emma Watson, who is the youngest daughter. Does have some older brothers as well as a lot of sisters. Father's not doing well, and while one boy especially is well settled. Second one, he can fend for himself, but of course that leaves the daughters. And of course, since their father's a clergyman, then he dies, the living will be given to someone else, and so everyone is concerned. And more than that, Emma was raised by an aunt, basically. Hasn't really seen her family since she was 6, 8, something like that. So she gets reacquainted with them. She gets acquainted with people in the town. And yeah, I like this one. I really do. Not sure this is exactly what Jane Austen had in mind for how to finish it, since she only wrote 6 or so chapters. I'm not even sure they were fully fleshed out chapters. It seems she liked to write a first draft and go back through and flesh a lot of things out. But like Emma, lots of interesting characters. Of course, there's a happily ever after. And not just for Emma, that is true. So I enjoyed it. I also read Marmion by Sir Walter Scott for the contemporary that we are supposed to read. A contemporary of Jane Austen. Another poem, another battle in the end. We have the fair maiden who loved someone, but another guy wanted her, ended up essentially dueling, and her true love ended up dead, and she's promised to the guy which she hates. And amidst all these lovers' quarrels, you have more national policies. Lowlanders and English against Highlanders and things like that. So I enjoyed it. Scott does have a way with words. See, I also finished up Henry VIII. Not so well known as some others, I suspect. And yet Cardinal Wolsey is quite the compelling character. Gotta give him that. He has some great speeches in here. But basically, this follows the beginning. We get to know Henry VIII's court and Cardinal Wolsey. He seems to perhaps have a little bit too much influence. Got the proceedings started against Catherine of Aragon, with Wolsey planting doubts about whether he should have married his brother's bride or not. Ends with the birth of Elizabeth, which, to be fair, wasn't exactly wrong. Elizabeth's reign was in many ways a lot more stable than some of the reigns that came before her. Quite enjoyed it. Oh, and this potion is the bomb. This one, Henry and Jamie, they go off to investigate in a different country. The queen and I guess the prince of the neighboring country have a joint venture making a potion that will cure, I think it's consumption. Anyway, big deal, will improve so many lives. But the guy in charge of the potion making factory and one of the investors, the guy is killed, and the investor, she is severely injured by a bomb. Who, though, would want to do such a thing when this potion has only good that'll come out of it? Henry and Jamie must figure that out. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Such a great beginning to a great series. You have Harry, who's brought up by his uncle and aunt since his parents are dead. They don't like him very much, and on his 11th birthday, we discovered it's because Harry is a wizard, goes off to Hogwarts, School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, to learn how to be a wizard. He has adventures there, and we get some hints that there's a much larger story going on. Loved my reread. I also read The Girl Who Kept the Castle. Absolutely loved it. The author said she had influences from Studio Ghibli and from Diana Wynne Jones, and I can totally see that. So Faye, she is the maid at Wizard West's castle, and she's grown up around all sorts of magical things. But when Wizard West happens to die one day, he doesn't even notice, and Faye is chosen to tell him. He's, of course, very upset about this, but he does realize he needs to choose a successor. The four wizards keep each other in balance and also keep a lock on, what's her name, the queen of something or other. Very evil. Probably thousands of years ago, she reigned in terror, and four brave wizards sealed her since they couldn't kill her. And ever since then, the four wizards have been protecting this island by keeping the seal. But the seal needs to be renewed, so Wizard West needs an apprentice. And lots of shenanigans ensue in the process of trying to find this apprentice. Wizard West, he is not exactly like Wizard Howl from Howl's Moving Castle, but there are some definite similarities, and he gives just as much trouble to his servants as Howl ever did to Sophie. And I finished my 12 Caesars by Suetonius. Some, well, It would be unfair to say that no one has zero good qualities. But some of these Caesars were a lot better than others. Some of these Caesars were a lot more effective than others. Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus, of course, were quite effective. Um, whatever else you can say about about them, that's certainly true. Vespasian and Titus were pretty effective and decent rulers too. Um, Caligula and Nero, let's just say they are real pieces of work. And Galba, Otho, and Vitellius. I think at best they reigned through about 10 years, all three of them. They kept getting assassinated because they were terrible. But I am glad to have refreshed my memory about some Roman history. So, that is what I have read for the second half of the month of July. I would say overall it was a success. I completed Jane Austen July. I completed 12 Caesars. Well, I didn't get to a contemporary movie or a TV show or web series or something about Jane Austen, but I did everything else. So I count that as a win at this point since July was pretty busy. Anyway, hope your July was just as good. Thank you so much for stopping by. I truly do appreciate it. So until next time, I hope we all stay safe and healthy. And as always, happy reading.